How's it going, everybody? Today is August 7th. We're here for episode 7 of Puck Drop a Cutting Edge. Took a little bit of a break, but we're back now for another exciting, fun episode. My very special guest today is a Cutting Edge alumni, current Cutting Edge coach and assistant, and the familiar face you'll see around the rink if you've been here all summer, Mr. Logan Brown. Logan, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Just happy to be here. Been listening to the podcast. Happy it's my turn to step on.
Fantastic. For those of you who don't know Logan, Logan's been coming here for like ever, pretty much his whole hockey life. Logan's entering his senior year of high school at Montclair High School, and he's been coming here probably since you were about 10, 11 years old, right?
Been here as long as I can remember.
Yeah, Logan is a kid and a player who grew up coming here, learning from a lot of our coaches, whether it's Coach Johnny Hero, Coach Trapp, Coach Jaden, all those guys. He's also a long-time Cobra. It's the first year, his final year of 18U, that he's not going to be with the Cobras, but he was with us from, first year Bantam?
Yeah, pretty much first year you guys had like a full team. I came over, was here ever since.
Yeah, you were with us from the second year in existence.
Yeah, first year with a full 06 team. So the first time you guys had like a pure team, that's when I came over.
Yep, rode the wave.
Definitely.
Logan's been on some pretty good teams, some pretty good 06 teams here at Cutting Edge. Came into his last year, you guys were pretty much a low-end AAA team, very, very, very strong AA team, and it's it's been a fun ride. But now Logan's starting the second wave of his hockey life, the coaching. We're molding you into the coach of the future right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, started working here when I was like 15. Got to be around a lot of the guys. Learn what it means to be a coach, more than just telling kids what to do. How to work with people in different ways. So definitely very grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think here at Cutting Edge, one thing that's really important to us is bringing in people like Logan, where it's people who have been here at the rink. They know our coaches, they're familiar with the coaching style, and they're really the next generations of coaches. Where as we all get older, and one day our bodies betray us and we can no longer coach the way we want to coach and be on the ice the way we want to be on the ice. It's the next generation of young players who come up and want to share their knowledge and the things that they've learned and their coaching strategies. This past year, Logan had a pretty good high school year as a junior, entering his senior year, hoping to really explode. Tell us about your high school year last year, Logan.
So I played for Montclair High School, NJIHL, playing the Kelly Division. Team as a whole had a good start to the season. Started out around like 12-2. For me personally, it was definitely one of I would say the best season I had in high school hockey. Team was successful. I was successful in ways necessarily hadn't been before. Was producing a little more offensively. Then about like a little more than halfway through the season, sadly, I had a season-ending injury, blocked a shot, broke my jaw, which definitely it hurt physically and both mentally. But it's kind of just part of the game. You take it as you go. I got to move into more an advisor role for the team. I was a captain, so I definitely wanted to stay around and help the boys out as the season went along. And even though we didn't, reach the goals that we had set at the beginning of the year, it was definitely a good season for me to learn how to, overcome some adversity.
Yeah, no, for sure, and that's really important, especially for young players growing up to realize how much you can contribute both on and off the ice. When you're a player like Logan, who was a captain on the team, top D pair, point producer, to go down, that could be demoralizing, but it's important as a leader to make sure that you understand and how to motivate your teammates and make sure you keep the wheels on and keep the wheels from falling off and the season completely collapsing. And it's really important, and that's what you got to do if you're a captain. Um, Tell us a little bit about your experience with the Cobras, from a young 13-year-old kid to an 18-year-old, just growing up playing here at the Cobras.
Well, yeah, I mean, Cutting Edge definitely was a huge part of my hockey journey. I started out on the Montclair Blues. Obviously, it's a pretty easy commute. Main reason I ended up there was just proximity to my house. But coming to Cutting Edge was my first time really taking hockey as more than just something I do on the weekends and after school once or twice a week to just stay in shape. It became something a lot more than that. The team, as it was a new program, the team was it was more like a family than something I'd ever really experienced before, and that's something that I really appreciated about my journey at Cutting Edge. I mean, from the start to my last year here, my 18U season, I was with a very similar core group of kids each year, so we grew very close. And on top of that, the coaching that was offered was really, I got to give all my hockey talent and all of the credit to the coaching at Cutting Edge. I mean, coming into this, I was not the most talented player by any means, but with just a lot of care and effort from the coaches, I was able to kind of turn that all around. And I give a lot of credit to this place. It's like a family, so I definitely appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, no, we've definitely seen you grow a ton, and you've had the experience to learn from coaches such as Coach Frank Kern for a few years, Coach Jaden Hoyt for a few years. You had me. I broke you out of a lot of bad habits when you were young,
Definitely,
and
definitely.
remember pounding my head against the wall trying to break you of the same little habits that you kept doing, but you broke out of it, and it really helped you grow as a player, and it's really been fun to see a lot of players like yourself and like you said, that core group of guys really grow. And whether it's guys who stayed with us the whole time, whether it's guys who stayed with us for a few years and moved on to other programs or whatnot, we've seen plenty of players come into our program and whether they might have been A players when they came here and a few years later they graduated and move on to a AAA program or they went on to private school and that's kind of our goals. We want to help the kids here reach their true potential and climb as high as they can. Obviously, retention is very important to us. We want to still retain as many players as we can, and we want to keep all players in the door. But if at the end of the day we turned an A player into a AAA player in 2 years, that's a success. Or a B player into a double A, AAA player. Like we've seen that over the years, and we're still very proud of all the players who have left on and have left for higher level teams. We'll never stop a player from chasing their goals and trying to climb the ladder as high as they can go. Um, but I think one of my favorite parts of our program is, like you said, the family aspect. Um, Personally, as a coach, and especially when I was younger, when I was a new coach and I was younger, I had a hard time separating my personal feelings when players would leave. Right, I would take that personally sometimes to my and I was young and naive and I didn't see it as the bigger bright the bigger spectrum that it is. And as I got older and more experienced as a coach, I understood a little bit more as to the journey, and I stopped taking it a little as personal as I would when I was younger. Because at the end of the day, we do want to see these players reach their true potential and climb as high as they can. And if that means players are moving on to AAA from us, then at the end of the day, we have to realize as coaches that we've also done our job to make sure that these kids have really grown to their true potential. But selfishly, I sit there and say, why can't we have the two AAA team? But that's just me. Um, but no, that's good to hear, and that's fun to hear about your experiences and how much you like to hear. What are you thinking? What's the next step in your journey, Log? What are you thinking? Where we your college career?
Yeah,
What are we
so
thinking?
it's coming around that time, going into my senior year of high school. So, I mean, that's really the question everybody has. And to be honest, I wouldn't say I necessarily have a stone cold answer right now. I'm trying to figure out what I need for myself as a student, as an athlete, as a person, all kind of coming together. I mean, right now there's a lot going on in just the whole college admission process. Everything's always changing. Schools change what they need from you, change what they want to see from you. So, got to keep my mind open to all possibilities about what's going to happen next year. It's that application season, so that's definitely something I'm looking into. I got a few schools I'm looking at, but right now I couldn't even say I have like a real plan in any way.
Yeah, when you're going into colleges, it's always there's so many elements to it, right? It's first you got to find the right fit. You got to find a place that you can see yourself living for 4 years. In a perfect world, you're not going to a school. Most people aren't going to applying to schools to say, all right, well, I'll stay here for 1 year and then I'll leave and I'll just transfer somewhere else. What's the point? If you're going into something with that mindset, why not just go somewhere else? There's plenty
Exactly.
of schools
Yeah.
out there that you can attend and look into. Um, so your fit is one big thing to look into. The other thing is what kind of hockey do you want to play? Or do you want to play club? Do you want to try to make a D3 school? Do you think you're good enough to make a D3 school? Do you have coaches reaching out to you, or are you reaching out to coaches? So the type of hockey is also something that you want to look into, and you got to find out what's more important to you, right? You might be going to a school, looking into schools, and say, okay, I like this school because I like their campus and I like what they have academically, and that might be what's most important to you. And they might also just happen to have a club team,
Yeah.
or you might say, I want to play D3 hockey. Then you look into some schools and say, okay, this school has D3 hockey, and these schools have what I want academically.
Hmm.
So it's little things like that as to what you should look into
Definitely.
um, when you're looking into your next college life. Everybody has a different fit. It's much different when you're talking about the high end D1 national development stuff, and you have people chasing you. But when you're in the 99 percentile, like the rest of us, it's all about finding fit. Because it's just personally, as someone who did go to college 4 years and graduated, I loved where I went. I thought about trying to walk on at on this team, but at the end of the day, I think deep down I knew I wasn't good enough, and I didn't want to put in all the hard work necessary to play at that level, and that was my decision at that time. I was burnt out. I was done, and I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not good enough, and and I accepted that, and I enjoyed my 4 years of school, got a great education, and now I work here, right? So
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with wanting to take that break away from hockey. I think that maybe parents don't necessarily see it when they put a ton of money into a kid, throughout their first 10, 12 years of life into hockey. But, it's just like anything. It's just like school. It's just like, work. Like, definitely can burn you out. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with when you're going into college wanting to maybe, hang the skates up and move to something else. But at the same time, like, if you put a lot of work into something, you might as well try to see it out in any way you can. Like, club hockey's a great way. I think it's becoming more prevalent now and kind of moving towards a more organized and official entity than it was before in the past few years, where it's becoming a thing that you can get recruited to. But I think that club hockey is definitely a very good option for a lot of the AA, AAA players who maybe don't want to do that whole walk on and take a few years after college to go play juniors. It provides something where you can still enjoy the college life and be like all those other college students and all your friends who don't necessarily play sport as seriously, but you still stay in shape. You still get to play hockey, which is hopefully the sport that you love if you've been putting that much time into it, and it gives you kind of an outlet where it gives you a sense of normalcy where you're going into a whole. I mean, college is the most different time of your life. Your first time moving away from your family, first time really living on your own, and staying and playing hockey can kind of give you just a little something to drag, keep you down and make you feel a little more at home.
yeah, absolutely. And the college, like you said, if you choose to go away to college, that's the first time that you're really on your own, and you really, in a way, there's no rules, right? And you have to be very diligent on how you spend your time, and you have to pretty much self-govern yourself, and you have to make sure that you're very responsible with your time and your schoolwork and everything, because it is very, very, very easy to get distracted when you go away to school and when you live away at school. You meet your roommates, you make friends, because a lot of people when they go away to school, they have that natural anxiety. Who am I going to meet? What are they going to be like? Am I going to fit in? All that stuff. It's natural anxiety. No matter whether or not you're the most confident person in the world on the outside, you're going to have those natural anxieties. But the key is to remember all these people are in the same boat as you. You might go to school and right off the bat you see some guy who's some hot shot, and he thinks he's on top of the world and all that, but deep down he's just as scared and nervous and anxious as anybody else there. So those are the little things that you have to, no matter what kind of facade people put out there, you go out there confident, you go out there looking to meet people, put a big old smile on your face, seem friendly, and you fit in just fine. And going back to the hockey world, hockey's a great way to make friends and join a community. Especially when it's in club. And even if you don't make the team, if you don't join or whatever you do, a lot of my friends who played on the team, a lot of the guys I became friends with played on the team just because you grow up in the hockey community. It's something you gravitate to. So it's little things like that. is what make this hockey world and the hockey community so special. Is really once you're in it, you're never out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
You always come back to it, and I'm a guy. I stopped playing essentially when I was after my final year of 18U. I stopped playing, and I went to college, bounced around a few jobs, and then I actually no, I went to college, and right after I graduated college, I started working in the hockey industry, and I started playing. I picked up playing men's league again when I was in my mid 20s after taking a few years off, and it's just that's what makes hockey and the hockey world so special. It never really leaves you. Even if you say you're done, you're never done.
No, definitely.
It always comes back. You always get that craving to play again. And
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little different than other sports where some of those communities are just so big where it's like you almost kind of feel like a small fish in a big sea. But I think hockey's just a little different. Like you can't really go to any rink or any place that's revolved around hockey without finding somebody that you know or somebody that you've played with or interacted with in some way in the hockey world. And I feel like that goes past even just your youth hockey days and into like real life. It can really transition where you meet a lot of people through the game, and it's a very tight knit community where it's like everybody knows everyone through something. So I think that not a lot of sports have something like that. So when you bring it back to the sense of college, it's like even if you're not necessarily playing on the team, as a hockey player, you're going to find other hockey players, no matter how, even if you're retired, and you've moved on into something new in your life. Hockey's really a connecting and driving factor. So I feel like that's definitely something to like keep in mind when you're going to college. Like you're gonna find people similar to you. If that's through hockey or not, it's all gonna connect somehow.
absolutely. And like I may be biased, but I feel like hockey players are also genuinely some of the nicer people out there, and some of the more inclusive and welcoming people. Um, I no matter what kind of situation you're in, everybody has an exception, right? But generally, I feel like hockey players are all pretty much pretty good guys, and it's I said when you get older, eventually you're done playing hockey. You go play men's league, and it's there, and you're out there, and nobody's being a jerk out there, and you're out there having fun, and like that's what it all comes down to. It's a full circle moment, and it's all about just having fun, and especially when you're in college too,
Yeah.
just have fun with it, and
I mean, what they say, everybody always ends up in beer league, no matter how good you are. Go to the NHL, you're done after high school. Everyone's gonna end up in playing men's
absolutely.
league,
You know
beer
how many
league.
guys I
So
play with in men's league who were former NCAA athletes, D1, D3, or played pro, and now they're in their 40s and 50s, and it's all the same.
everyone ends up in the same
You
place in
all
the
end
end.
up in the same place. It's like it's fun.
Definitely.
But pivoting to something else, the other big thing in the sporting world, not so much hockey, is the Olympics. I feel like we've all been watching the Olympics, especially here at the rink. We've had it on every day,
All the time, yeah.
all the time. It's one of those things every 4 years where you sit there and you're just like, oh, I never. You hear it coming up and you're like, whatever. I really don't care. It is whatever. And then you just get entranced by it. All like the most random little events out there. The racing, the canoeing, the volleyball, all the stuff that you're sitting there you never think you have any interest in. All of a sudden is the coolest stuff in the world. What do you think, Logan? What's your favorite event been so far? What do you like?
I mean, so far I'm a big into swimming. That's usually an area of dominance for the U.S. This year. Maybe not so much as it was in the past, but just watching that's a different type of sport when you look at it compared to hockey. The individual sports, I'm definitely very interested by those, just because in hockey, you got the team aspect where you can kind of rely on your teammates to keep energy up, and everyone kind of feeds off of each other. And individual sports, it's just so different because you look at it and it's just you out there. No matter if you got like a team in the back when you're competing, it's just you. And I feel like those individual sports kind of make you think about hockey as itself a little differently, and maybe realize how lucky we are that when we're playing a sport, we can rely on 17 other guys and two goalies to go out there and compete and work hard together. So I think sports like gymnastics, swimming, boxing, wrestling, all that type of stuff, it really opens your eyes to how a different side of the athletic world works, and how a different ways athletes can stay focused and stay attentive on their game.
Yeah, I no, I totally agree with that. I like the swimming. I like the track and field. Noah Lyles win the gold in the 100 meters the other day was pretty sick. I like the volleyball a lot. I think the volleyball is pretty awesome, both the indoor and the beach volleyball. I think beach volleyball is crazy. Like just think about if any of you have ever went out and played volleyball out on the beach just with like your friends. Think of how hard it is to run in the sand and how much room there is on the sand and how much room you have to cover with just two people. It's crazy. It's insane how these people just can send it back over the net. And with the indoor volleyball, how hard these people hit, whether it's serving, whether it's spiking, they're just ripping missiles at each other, and you're going up to block it, and you're putting your face in the way. Like it's nuts. These are crazy people, and that's awesome. Um,
Yeah.
and then some of the obscure sports, like the handballs, is pretty cool to
Oh
watch.
my God, I mean, all these sports kind of just show you. I mean, you would never even really hear about sports like beach volleyball and handball if it wasn't for events like the Olympics. So it really just kind of shows you how athletic some people. Not even I wouldn't even say just how athletic, but just it shows you the extent to which these sports can carry, where you don't even see it on a national stage until an event like the Olympics, and it just shows you how good these people are. Where they're doing all these things in the shadows. They're not necessarily getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars like our basketball players and our football players that we see are. So, I mean, they're getting paid so these basketball, football, all that they're getting paid so much. And then you got guys playing beach volleyball and handball where they're not necessarily making all this money, but they're still just peak athletes, and it shows you that's just more for a love of the sport than it is for any money. So it's kind of refreshing in a way, and I think that events like the Olympics really show you just how much sports mean on more than just a monetary standpoint. It shows you how they can affect entire countries, entire you know ethnic groups, and how they can make people all come together over just the love for a sport. And I don't think you really see that in other, NBA, NFL, NHL. It's much different on the national stage.
Yeah, and I think one thing people fail to realize too is some of these random sports. We're here in America where you got the major sports, you got football, you got basketball, baseball, like the hockey. Those are the major sports that we really care about. Whereas some of these other countries, handball might be their national sport, or volleyball might be their national sport, or water polo. Water polo, by the way, is the most absurdly athletic
Yeah, it's
sport that
unbelievable.
nobody talks about. You're standing, you're in 15 feet of water, you're treading water the entire time, while these guys are just beating the crap out of each other and drowning each other, and you have to catch the ball with one hand essentially and fire it into a net. It's absolutely insane, and you're swimming back and forth for 4 quarters. The amount of muscular endurance you need to just think about swimming in a pool, just doing a bunch of laps. Now, on top of that, someone's trying to drown you, and you have to throw a ball into a net. Like it's water polo is crazy.
Yeah,
I'm fascinated by that one.
definitely.
Um,
I mean, and you look. I mean, the whole story with Flava Flav sponsoring the women's water polo team. I think that kind of ties back to that. These people obviously aren't doing it for money when they're talking about working two, almost three jobs just to be able to compete. That just shows you it's this. Oh, I wouldn't even say a sense of nationalism or patriotism. It just shows you a sense of just love for the sport and love for your country and wanting to be able to go out there and compete on the national or international stage and really just go out there and make a name for yourself because it's much more than money for these athletes. And I really think that is something that I wish could almost transition into our professional sports leagues a little bit more, where it it does it's more than just getting a paycheck. It's going out there and really making your name last and putting it in the history books. And that's why I think like the Olympics is just so important for every country in the world. Especially in times when you don't really know what's going on in the world, how things are going to look in 5, 10 years time. Events like this really give you a sense of hope for everything.
yeah, I agree. It's definitely been fun to watch, and I always like the joke of, oh, they should always let one random person into the Olympics to see how fast and how athletic some of these guys are. And I saw a video of, it was an Olympic pool, and it was your 8 lanes, and one lane was an Olympic swimmer, and the other 7 lanes were just normal dudes, and he got a 7 second head start. They all got a 7 second head start, and the Olympic swimmer still won. Like he looked like a shark shooting through the water. He was so fast catching these guys. It was insane. But
I mean, the level of just training and it's stuff like I agree. I wish we could kind of see something like that a bit more, where it's like putting these athletes on against just like the average guy, because a lot of us I feel are armchair coaches, just kind of sitting back, sitting there thinking, oh, I could definitely do that during events like the Olympics. I could definitely be a handball player. But in reality, the reality is when you would step out there, you would get absolutely dominated for the entire event. And I think that we kind of forget that. Same thing kind of gets back to hockey. Like we're sitting there during playoffs and stuff, watching some of these guys. Like he's not even skating, he's not even trying. I could definitely do it. Or I wouldn't say people say they could go out there and do better, but everyone's got something to say about how an athlete, how hard they're working or what they're doing out in their event. And I think that we all just got to take a step back and remember we're the average Joes. We're the guys these guys put their whole lives into this for people like us to sit there and talk about them. So I think the Olympics is a big time for that, with all the events that you don't necessarily watch all the time. But you're right. Watching
yeah,
them go against the average Joe would definitely put us
I
in
would
our
I would
place.
I would love to see that. But yeah, I mean, look, everybody loves to rip on their favorite teams where they're the third and fourth line guys. And you're like, oh, this guy sucks. Why is he on the ice? Blah blah blah. And even your worst fourth line player still played major juniors or D1 hockey, or like they were still
Professionally
top of the
somewhere.
top. And the only reason they're a fourth liner because the gap between first and fourth line is so minuscule, and you just don't even really see it. And you don't even realize it just because everyone at that level is so good, and it just means that the guys who are the best are really that much better than everyone else. Like the guys who are in their third lines, fourth lines, and your minor leaguers, the AHLs, the guys in the coast, all those guys, they are very still phenomenal hockey players. But the guys who are the top of the league, the all stars, the all pros, these guys are just that much better,
Yeah.
that much better than the rest of the professional athletes. Just nuts.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, what's the quote from Scalabrini? I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me. And I think that like encapsulates it. It's like these guys are so much farther apart from any of the average human in any sport that they play. And like you said, I think people kind of just they kind of forget that a little bit. They're watching their fourth line guy get burned for the third time by Eric Carlson, and you're like, how's this guy even out there? But you got to
It's like
remember
get
that
this guy off the ice. Your third D pairing just gives up
another
another turnover and it's in the back of your net. Like get this guy off the ice. He stinks. Nope, he's actually very very good. It's
very
just
good.
the
It's
other guys
just
are
that
just
much better.
that much better.
I mean, yeah, it's and part of it is work, but also part of it's just natural. Like some of these guys are just born naturally to be athletes, to be high level competitors, and there's nothing you can't teach that. That's something that you're born with, and you either have it or you don't. So I think that it's really a good. The Olympics are a great reminder that these people are so much better at what they do than anybody else. So to sit there and judge them would be frivolous, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Question for you. We got the next Summer Olympics is in 4 years. You can start training tomorrow for one event,
Yeah.
and you're in the Olympics. What is it?
Oof. That's a hard one. I want to say it's got to be an event that requires very little physical tools.
What's the one with the horses?
Yeah, I could definitely. I think I could do the horse, like the horse dancing or like the whatever it is, where the horses like do like that's because that's more though you got to just teach the horse how to like walk and step. I could definitely learn how to do that, or like shooting, because yeah, I could just practice shooting over and over and over again, and that doesn't really require a whole lot of physical like strength. It's not like I need to grow 3 inches and put on 40 pounds to play that.
Yeah, but you're lucky. Like you got the frame. What are you like 6'2"?
About 6'2", 6'3", somewhere
Yeah,
in that
you're
range.
6'2", 6'3". I bet you could be a good swimmer.
Yeah, but I definitely I think I could be a good swimmer, but I would need a lot more than 4 years. I would need to probably go back 4 or 5 years and then start training, and probably still wouldn't even have a chance. I mean, those guys are just I mean they're freaks in nature. Michael Phelps is obviously the number one guy when you think about that, but I mean the amount of hours they put in to just they're in the lap pool, they're running. It's so much more than just swimming. It's how you eat, how you train all out of the water. There's so much that goes into the swimming, I think it's probably one of the most all around, most physically exerting sports. So it definitely takes a lot to do that.
The 1200 meter is crazy. That
Yeah.
one, the 1200
Unreal.
meter individual, you're sitting there and you're swinging back and forth. Was that 24 laps or back and forth? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I just simply drown.
Yeah, I
I would
100%
just,
agree. I don't
I
think
just wouldn't make it.
I would not.
I would admit, I wouldn't forget winning. I wouldn't finish the race.
Absolutely.
just,
I don't think I could do 5 laps on a 50-meter pool without definitely struggling. Like, you're putting your body in an atmosphere and an environment that it's not supposed to be in. So, like, I mean, especially the long distance swims, like, if you think about it, you got to control your breathing in the water for upwards of couple minutes. Like, that's a tall task.
I could finish a 50-meter race.
Yes.
I'd come in dead last, but I could finish. Yeah, I could probably finish 400 meter. I think I could finish a 400 meter. That's probably my max that I think I could actually finish. I wouldn't come anywhere near winning. Nowhere near. I'd get overlapped multiple times. But also, I'm tiny and I don't have a swimmer's lanky body. But
That's the thing. There's just so many aspects that go into something like that. It takes more than just. It's like I said. I mean, some people are just born to be athletes in certain sports. Like, so I mean, look at Phelps. He's probably what 6'4", 6'5". Like long arms, long legs. He's born to be. He was
he's got
meant
the
to be a
body
swimmer.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't really see guys any shorter than 6 feet tall being any sort of successful swimmers. Even the women. I mean, Katie Ledecky's definitely on the taller side. I wouldn't say I know her exact height, but from seeing the pictures of her, she definitely looks on the taller side. So part of it is just the cards you're given, but the training is definitely a very, very big part of that as well.
Yeah, I think I'm going to play devil's advocate here for me. If I were to go, first of all, I'm going to transport myself back to now as a 33-year-old, 4 years, there's nothing other than anything non-physical for me
Yeah.
at this point. Be 37 for the next Olympics. No shot am I doing anything physical. It'd have to be like you said, shooting or like something like that.
Yeah.
But put me back to your age. If I was 17, give me 4 years. I would want to do what I would want to do and what I would actually be able to do. Two different things. I would want to do volleyball because I like playing volleyball. Volleyball's fun, but again, I'm tiny and I don't have the height to do it. But yeah.
Yeah.
I could probably do like I would want to do like pole vaulting. I think pole vault would be sick.
And I don't think you have to be. There's no necessarily physical limitations for pole vault. Like, I don't necessarily think you have to be tall or short or short or anything like that. So I could see you being a
Let's do that. Transport me back to when I was 17 years old. Give me 4 years of training 5 times a week. I'm going to the Olympics as a pole vaulter. We're doing it.
Those are some brash words. I don't think there's a single sport that if you gave me 4 years right now, I can make the Olympics in. Even if I was training 5 days a week.
4 years. 4 years, best trainers, best diet, and 5 days a week. You don't think there's anything you're getting the Olympics in?
No, because you got to remember, these guys in the Olympics have been training for 15 years, 5 days a week, with great diets, with the best trainers. So I don't think, other than maybe, like I said, the non-physical sports, I don't think there's anything I can become physically prepared to be an Olympic athlete in just 4 years. Give me maybe 8 years by the time I'm pushing my early 30s, then maybe. Then maybe.
You're ready. All right.
Then I can
your training starts tomorrow, Logan. Your Olympic training. Yeah. All right, Tristan. We'll give you this one. If you can start training, you get the next Olympics in 4 years. Start training tomorrow. What sport can you make the Olympics in?
I feel like maybe one of them would probably be water polo. I feel like that's a sport which is all about throwing a ball, and it's more about endurance. 4 years of practicing, you could probably be able to tread water for a long time and throw some balls pretty hard. I feel like that's probably a good sport you could do in 4 years.
All right, you're bold, Tristan. You're bold. What about you, Will?
Does it have to be winter sport? Does it have to be spring?
All right, we got Will Nicholas now.
All right, Will. What do you got? What sport?
I have to pick rugby because I've had some previous experience with rugby, and I feel like I have kind of the basics down, and all I have to do is just get more details about the game and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like I could definitely make it to the Olympics through rugby.
You gotta bulk up though if you're gonna do rugby.
Yeah, I think I'm like 170 right now. I'm super skinny. Like maybe if I got to like 230, I should be good.
They would eat you alive out there at the Olympics. But I'll give you the smallest glimmer of hope there, Will, for since you have your little previous rugby experience. But
Yeah, no. If you headed out there today, Will, I don't know if it would. I don't know if it would go very well, but no. But I mean, putting on that much weight, you still have to get in good moving shape. I mean, those guys are 230 and they can move.
Yeah.
I mean, they got some wheels on them. You gotta say.
you know what, guys, I'm just gonna go be an Olympic powerlifter. Let's just go with that.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that. That'd be a great turnaround. Great success story.
Big turn. I'm gonna start bulking now.
Oh, you would need to bulk about 200 pounds at least, I'd say.
Well, guys, this is a fun episode. Logan, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, had a great time.
I
Thank you for
appreciate
having
the
me.
commentary. You're always welcome.
Thank
You to our other special guests, Will and Tristan.
Is my face gonna make it on the thumbnail or no?
Your face might make it on the thumbnail. Who knows? Well, thank you everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Hope to see you around at the rink. See you later, everyone.